So looking at this equation, again, this is a one-step equation that we want to solve. So again, to solve an equation means find the value of x that makes each side the same value. So again, there are all kinds of ways of doing this, but one of the ways we can do this is what we call inverse thinking is one strategy, or thinking backwards. Or we also have what's called property of equality. Now remember, division is equivalent to multiplying by the reciprocal. So that's something we've learned over the years is instead of dividing, we can multiply by the reciprocal. So a lot of times we call this KCF, keep, change, flip is our strategy. So remember, if I gave you 2/3 divided by, say, 5/3, one way of doing it is I could write this as keep the 2/3. I could change division to multiplication. That's that multiplying part. And then flip means is the reciprocal part. Reciprocal means to kind of flip the numbers. So this 5/3 turns into 3/5. Now, when I do the math, notice that since there's a 3 on the top and a 3 on the bottom, they will divide out. They cancel out, if you will. So what I'm left with then is 2 times 5, which is 2/5. And that would be the answer. It'd be 2/5. Now, again, if you're using technology, if you want to use a calculator, you can type in 2/3. I can go 2 divided by 3. Now, this looks a little confusing, so I could do it a couple ways. One of the menus on our calculator is this little green F1 up here. It has a little menu to do fractions. So if I hit the alpha button, it allows me to do this F1 menu up here. So if I hit the Y equals button, notice that number 1 is a fraction menu. So if I choose number 1 there, notice how it gives me a format of a fraction. So if I fill in the little format 2, then put a 3, come over, put a division symbol. And then if I go alpha F1 again, I can use number 1, and that'll give me this 5/3, 5 on top and 3 on the bottom. If I hit enter, I should get 2/5, which is what I have. Now notice also I could write this as, if I hit that F1 again, I could type this in as 2/3 times the reciprocal of 5/3 would be 3/5. So if I put 3/5 in there, if I do that, those should mean the same thing. Let's also get 2/5. So it's easier to avoid division by what we call multiplying by the reciprocal. So a lot of times division is actually thought of as some form of multiplication since they are closely related. So I look at this problem that we have. We have this 5, 6 times x equals 20. Since multiplication, I can change the order. I could change this to x times 5, 6 equals 20. And if I use inverse thinking, what I can do is go this direction with it. And I could write this as, instead of a multiplication problem, I could change it to a division problem. So 20 divided by 5, 6 is going to equal x. It's going to take me back to the beginning. And so instead of dividing, what I can do is go 20 times, so keep change division multiplication and flip, so that's going to turn into 6/5 equals x. Notice that I can actually divide the 5 into the 20 and get a 4. And 4 times 20 is actually, 4 times 6 is 24, so x would equal this 24. So my solution set would be 24 if I was asked to write this as a solution set. I don't know if your work asks you to do that or not. So that's thinking backwards. Now what I can do, I can use what's called the property of equality. So if I have 5, 6x equals 20. One of the things we've learned is if you multiply a number by its reciprocal, it will always equal 1. So if I gave you 5, 6, if I multiply by its reciprocal, which is 6/5, notice that the 6's and the 5's divide out. So it's just going to end up being 1. So what I can do is to solve for x, the coefficient of x has to turn into a 1. And to make the coefficient of x turn into 1, I have to multiply by the reciprocal of the coefficient. So if we multiply both sides of the equation by 6/5, this will allow us to get the x by itself, because the 6/5 and the 5/6 is going to make a coefficient of 1. And when the coefficient is 1, we just write that as x. So all we really got to do is go 20 times 6/5. So notice how 5 does go into 20 4 times, and 4 times 6 is 24. So notice how we can get the solution the same way there. Okay. Again, you could have used a calculator if you wanted to. You could have typed in 20 divided by 5/6 if you wanted to. 20 divided by, and you can use parentheses as well. In parentheses, 5 divided by 6 if you don't want to try to use all that fraction button stuff. And that should give me the answer of 24. So you can also use your calculator to get that result.